I want to share an untold story with you, the inner hurt and unjust ostracism that many converts silently suffer. This is a story like many other untold stories of those who followed a path very similar to my own.
I am a convert. I am married to a convert, and all of my children are converts as well. And I know what you may be thinking, that the experiences I'm going to recount are due to my wife and I being among those converts who convert and only end up being not observant, or laxly so. But this isn't true. In fact, I can discuss Jewish law and the classical sources intelligently. Our family is strictly observant of Torah and Halakha. When people meet me for the first time and have not yet found out that I am a convert, they usually assume that I grew up from and ask where I went to yeshiva. After a long time of learning and soul searching, my family and I made the decision to become Jewish. We successfully completed the conversion process to Orthodox Judaism through a widely recognized Orthodox Beis Din. After our conversion, I, my wife, and my children were relieved to finally shed the inner conflict of doing Torah while not actually being Jewish. Finally, we were members of the people, God's people, and we all felt that we had finally found our home. But it wasn't long before our children came home with complaints of other children making negative comments to them about being converts, or asking them, what is it like to be a goy? And what is it like to eat treif? They were even told, you're not really Jewish, you converted. This followed with not being accepted in their classes at school and essentially being unable to make friends, no matter how hard they tried. It was extremely difficult for them to undergo, and even more difficult for us as their parents to watch. It wasn't long before they all began to refer to Jews in the third person, as if they were a group to which my children thought they didn't truly belong. They said things like, Jews aren't so friendly, or how come Jewish kids are so mean? I thought they were supposed to follow Torah, and other such statements. I found myself constantly apologizing to them for their rejection and difficulty, making excuses why this was happening to them, just to keep their self-identity from being damaged so young and so early in their young Jewish lives. When my daughter reached the age of bat mitzvah, Jews in the community began to make comments like, now she gets to choose for herself, right? Or, she has to proclaim that she actually still wants to be Jewish, right? Because she was converted while still a minor. My wife and I kept thinking, do they want us to fail? Do they want to see our kids go off the Derekh and reject the Torah? God forbid. I felt like people were holding their breath in suspense to see what would happen and if she would stick with it. It was as if our lives were some sort of a soap opera where those watching are interested by tragedy and mischance in the lives of the characters. But the children weren't the only ones to be put under suspicion. For years after our conversion, there were those who made rude and hurtful comments, reminding me of my former status. I remember one Shabbos when I was standing in shul on Friday night and the lights went out. Someone turned around and said jokingly, too bad you converted. We could have used you right now. I was shocked and later incensed. Many others in the crowded room also heard it, but said nothing to correct this person. Another time, our family was invited over for a meal, only to have the couple who invited us persistently grill us with questions about our former life, each question more invasive than the next, making it clear that they had only invited us over to get the inside scoop on if we were genuine or not. They just wanted to gossip, not our company. Then there was the time I got the opportunity to lead davening. But as soon as I began to read from the siddur, several people actually walked out. Their reasoning when asked was that they thought for some reason that I could still secretly be a Christian, and that my conversion was therefore suspect. What was their basis for thinking this way? I used to be before I converted. It was like my conversion, even though conducted by the highest Orthodox standards, did not count, or it never happened. They simply refused to acknowledge that anything had changed, either in my status or in my religious beliefs. For a long time after I converted, I was often reminded by others of my former status, and constantly felt pressure to prove that my commitment to Torah and Judaism was genuine, and that I wasn't secretly believing something else. I was asked how I presently feel about Jesus, and other such stupid and embarrassing questions. I was at times overcome with sadness and frustration, wondering if I would ever be able to escape my non-Jewish past. I could tell you many more things that have happened, and continue to happen, but I think that this is enough to get the idea.
You have a choice in hearing this story. You can either ignore the problem and fool yourself into thinking that this is a rare occurrence, that I'm just making a Hilul Hashem here and causing problems where none exist, or you can acknowledge the fact that this is a real problem, albeit one that usually goes unvoiced. The problem of mistreatment of converts and potential converts is rarely heard due to the real concern that speaking up will make matters worse for the individual who suffers the mistreatment. You have a choice. You can share this story with your Jewish friends and help educate them as to how Torah demands converts be treated, emphasizing the importance of loving the convert and not causing him grief, a Torah commandment so crucial that it is the most frequent commandment in the Bible. Or you can passively allow this desecration of the name to continue, while hypocritically bewailing the increase in anti-Semitism that it surely strengthens. This is not the way of Torah. Something must be done.